everybody, Pills here, and today we're gonna look at the PvP build for the Magicka Dragonknight for this patch, Flames of Ambition. And I just want to share with you guys what I am wearing with my Magicka Dragonknight in PvP, since I am playing a lot of PvP recently and I found this build to be really solid. After this build, I will publish other two builds that I think are solid as well, and those are gonna be Stamina Warden and Magicka Sorcerer build for this current meta. I know that a lot of people is currently playing Zero Deal with no procs, so this is not the kind of build I want to share. I have some ideas for Zero Deal with no procs, and I am running a gear for that content as well, but I'm mainly playing Battlegrounds and Imperial City. Obviously Battlegrounds is noCP content, while in Imperial City I usually go in the Imperial City CP. So this build can be used in both of these instances, and it's quite well-rounded, I will say. It's not bursty but squishy, and it's not tanky but with low damage. The main particular that I want you to understand is that Stamina and Magicka Decay are normally underwhelming classes when outnumbered, and this build kind of covers it in a different ways. But the main focus of this build is killing a single target really quick and try to pass to another target. It's not AoE spec. It has a little bit of AoE, but you mainly in a small group, you mainly want to stay alive and then find a target to kill and try to apply all your dots to that target and just burst him. So it's really bursty, and I'm gonna show you why, starting with the skills. So let me play around with UI a little bit. I'm gonna start with the skills just because they are a lot of the reason why I'm running this kind of build. So in the back bar we have Draw Essence, and this skill is really underrated in my opinion, especially in Battleground or in Imperial City when you are crowded around people and there's a lot of small groups fighting. This is probably the most OP heal you have, and we know that Magicka Dragonknight doesn't have really sustained heal, like it's not a good healer of himself. So that's the thing that we want to cover with Magicka Dragonknight when we are creating a build. So Draw Essence has to be cast when you are at least around 4 or 5 enemies, and if you can cast it while you're surrounded by more than 5 enemies, it's gonna full you up, and the damage that comes from it is really nice. It's not that low. I'm gonna show you up real quick. Not on the parse dummy, but on the smallest one. Obviously these are only 2 targets, but it's gonna stay good for the point. So you're gonna heal first, and then after a couple of seconds, 2.5 seconds, you're gonna exhale your fire, dealing 4600 damage, and it's flame damage. And this is another really good source of sustain for you, because the people that you are eating with the second part of the skill are gonna give you Magicka back to you. So that's one of my favorite skill to run on a decay. Then we have Burning Talons. This is kind of a flex spot, because in some situation you cannot sustain Burning Talons since you are not running Elfbane. So you technically should cast them only when you are trying to make pressure and then swap to front bar to kill some people. I really like Burning Talons though, because they immobilize target and set off balance, so and it's a really good dot damage over time. They can apply burning as well, so they're kind of OP, especially in AoE. So those two are your main AoE ability, and then obviously we have Coagulating Blood because we need a burst heal. You should hope that this one crits, because if he crits, it's gonna fool you up. If it doesn't, probably you're still gonna cast it another time. It's not a nice heal, it's not the best heal of the game, but it still is the best heal for the Magicka Decay, so we have to run it. For the armor I choose Volatile, just because this pulls people out of stealth, but you can run the other morph as well. It gives a little shield, so it's your preference here. And then I use Elusive Mist, which is a mist form morph, and with my setup I can get these to cost around 270 Magicka or 300 Magicka per second, so I can stay in this for a lot of time. It's really cheap because I'm Vampire stage 3. And then we have Swarming Scion as a backup ultimate. This I would suggest only using if you are fighting with a small group, so you are a small group, or if you are in battlegrounds. In Imperial City I probably will just slot Shield Wall here, I mean Spell Wall, because it's just more reliable and it's really cheaper. Vampire Ultimate is hard to have this up when you really need the defensive perks that it does. And anyway, it's not that defensive, it's really better to just slot Spell Wall if you don't want to do some crazy combination with your team. But for now we have Swarming Scion. For the front bar, it's Engulfing Flame is our semi-spammable. That's because it's cheap and it's the first hit of the skill hits really harder than other similar skills like Flames of Oblivion. And you can just, in the front bar, you can cast one Engulfing Flame, apply the Elemental Drain first, or the Engulfing Flame first, it's the same. I usually prefer to apply the Elemental Drain because we have Vateshran Inferno stuff, but those are the two main dots you want to have on your target. Then the Burning Embers as a second dot, and your Molten Whip is gonna be 2 stacks. So you're gonna just cast another Engulfing Flame, and then you can cast the Molten Whip with 3 stacks. I'm gonna show you real quick. You're gonna cast the Elemental Drain, Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers, Engulfing Flames, and the Whip doesn't go off. Okay, so the Empowered Whip does a lot of damage, it's cheap, and it's really burst. It's really more bursty than the other morph, which is Flame Lash. I used Flame Lash a lot, but in this current meta I feel like I'm okay with my health sustain, so I don't need Flame Lash anymore. I can just use Molten Whip to have a little more burst. And then I use Shattering Rocks instead of Fossilized. That's because, again, this is a font, a source of sustain, an health sustain. Because every time you cast it, now I cannot cast it because those are untargetable, but when you cast it and the stands end, they took another tick of magic damage and then you are healed. So if you are facing 2 or 3 opponents, you can just spam Shattering Rocks on all of them, and you're gonna heal. You're gonna heal a lot. And that's really good point for me. We don't need Immobilize because we have Burning Talons anyway, so the normal combo will be just Burning Talon swap into Shattering Rocks, and they're gonna take both the stuns, so the stun and Immobilize. And then you are free to do your combo with your dots and your bursting. That's pretty much it. Obviously in front bar we are using Ferocious Leap. This is a really good damage and it gives us a little shield, so it can be used defensively as well. It knocks people, and you can obviously run other shit here like Dragonknight standard, like you can slot it, or you can, if you are in a small group, you can maybe put Elemental Storm down. I don't really use those because I just feel that the leap is more consistent for the burst damage, but those are viable option as well. So talking about the gear, we are wearing 2 pieces Zan Sturdy, 1 light and 1 medium. We are using Eternal Vigor on body, full heavy. So we are currently running 5 heavy, 1 light and 1 medium. So we have 6% more resources for the Undaunted passive. And on Magicka characters, especially the tankier, I normally use the 5-1-1 method because I think it's just better. Then we are using 2 pieces trainee, both arcane. So we have a little bit more max Magicka, and both with reduced Magicka cost of spells. Malakat Band of Brutality is infused, but it can be arcane as well. I just use this on another build as well, so I don't want to transmute it to arcane, but it can definitely be arcane. And this one with reduced Magicka cost of spell as well. In front bar we have our Vateshran Perfected Inferno stuff charged. It's really important to be charged because charge applies a lot of burning, and every time we apply burning we have our recovery of Magicka between the combustion passive. When you apply burning you restore 500 Magicka, and so that's the reason why we use it charged. It's really OP on Magicka Decay anyway, so I always use charge Inferno stuff in front, even if it's not the Vateshran. The Vateshran obviously is really good for 2 reasons. First reason is that it's pretty much, it gives you the pressure of an entire proc set, but is only a weapon, and it gives a tick of spell penetration as well if you can drop it perfected. So it's really good right now. I will say it's the best weapon you can run on a Magicka character that needs sustained damage. In back bar I'm currently running Potentates. The shield is well fitted and the dagger is powered. Only important thing is that one hand I will always suggest powered. For the shield you can use Impenetrable if you're running noCPs, or you can run Sturdy, maybe Sturdy is better. I'm running well fitted because I have a lot of Sturdy on the body, like my body is all Sturdy and a piece of Impenetrable. So I have a lot of block mitigation already. I just wanted something else, so I went with well fitted. That's why. In back bar we are using Escapist Poison, which are, for me, in my opinion, the best poison you can run in back bar. And in front bar I'm gonna use different kind of enchants. It depends on the situation. You can use the Berserker Glyph if you want to be more AoE focused. So Berserker Glyph is gonna work better in Imperial City, and where you have like a sustained fight with multiple people. But if you want to be bursty on a single target, I really recommend either the shock glyph or the disease damage like I do. Disease is OP because if we apply disease with our light attacks, we can just put the opponent in a situation where he cannot heal anymore because we have a lot of dot pressure. Let me go real quick around the CPs. You know that CPs now are fucked, so you have to have a lot of CPs to spend in order to have all the passive you need. I don't have that many. I have around almost 1600, but anyway, I will say the most important things are in this tree here, where you can get your penetration and you can get your chance to apply magical status effect. This is really good on Magicka Decay, so you should give priority to this one, which his name is Flawless Ritual, and the War Mage obviously because you are empowering all your magic damage. For the rest, I will say you can just slot at, if you don't have this, you can just slot like 10 points here to have the free trees available, and you just slot everything you have in hardy, elemental edges, and resilience. Resilience, you have to remember, is an equipable one, so you have to equip it. And then I'm gonna move to the left, and I'm gonna take the Max Magicka as the next important step, and the Blast. Those are the, I mean, till the Blast, it's what you really want to have in CPs. Then if you have any free point, you can slot it in maximum stamina, which is always good. And about active, you want to slot Deadly Aim, because it empowers every single target damage we have. It's really good. We want to only use this one as an offensive one, and for the rest we're gonna use a defensive one. So Enduring Resolve, which reduces your damage taken, damage over time taken, Duelist Rebuff, that reduce single target damage attack, so direct damage, I will suppose. And as I said, Resilience and Deadly Aim. Those are the first slottable I use. And now if in the future I will add more CPs, I will definitely cover up the quick recovery, because healing taken is always good. But don't forget that the main source of healing normally is yourself, so you want to cover Blast first. Then for red CPs, I will put everything you have, basically, because all the passive in this tree are really good, but you have to give priority to block and block mitigation. 6% block mitigation is really important for you. Nimble Protector is not that important, but you can finish up when you can. Movement speed, the cost of sprint is not that important, so you can leave this at 10. Mystic Tenacity is really good for you, and Tumbling and Defiance are just good in PvP in general, so I want to max those out. Then as active, as a slottable CPs, I will slot Slippery, because it gives you a break free for no cost, an instant break free. It's automatic as well. Juggernaut, because while under the effect of Crown Control immunity, you take 2% less damage, which is good, because when you can, after the break free, you are gonna take less damage than you should, so you can heal up and try to come back. So Juggernaut is really good, in my opinion. Then we have Regeneration, just because it's too good. Like, I run this CP probably in every character. Like, it's a lot of sustain, and it's the fact that it has a perk in health recovery as well is really OP in this current meta of PvP. And then I'm gonna run survival listings, because in my opinion is as with Slippery and Regeneration, you should always run those three. The flex spot is Juggernaut. If you don't want Juggernaut, you can try with Unchained on guard, it's up to you. Juggernaut is a flex spot, but the Slippery, Regeneration and survival listings are really OP in my opinion. While afflicted with a status effect, your core combat skills cost 5% per stage, so now it costs 25%. So what are basic combat skills? Those are roll dodge, block, bash, and all the mainly stamina pressure ability that we normally use in fighting PvP. So it's really good, because you are always gonna have a status effect on you if you're if you're facing some individual. So that's really OP for me. And for the green tree, it's really easy. You don't need anything, or you need everything. It's like those kind of trees that you just, if you want Breakfall, take Breakfall. It's decent sometimes, and I will say get Gifted Rider if you are in Cyrodiil, get War Mount if you are in Cyrodiil, if the stamina of your mount is not maxed. And if you want to get cheaper food, you can use Rationeer. If while you are PvPing you want to take Resourcer, you can put Master Gatherer, like I do. it's really up to you. You can use the liquid efficiency to reduce the amount of potion you use, or you can use Steed Blessing if you want to be faster out of combat. Like these three, I cannot really recommend anything useful except for Gifted Rider and Warmount and maybe Breakfall for PvP. For PvP, for the rest, it's just up to you. It's personal preference, so I don't have to tell you much. In conclusion, I'm using the Atronach Mundus because we need the sustain of Magicka, but you can run the Mage as well. The only reason why I'm running the Atronach Mundus is because I can rely on Atronach more than the Mage. Like, I don't really need the damage of the Mage, so I just prefer to have a little more sustain of Magicka, even if I'm running the triple Magicka reduced cost glyphs. So you actually want to be a Vampire 3 stage. That's because we need, if I can't get it, okay, we need the Undead passive, which reduces your damage taken by 30% based on your missing health. This like makes us really unkillable in some situation. And I wanted to talk about another flag spot that I tried and it works really good for me, but it's harder to use, which is Hypnosis. Now Hypnosis, you can do this in PvP. I will suggest this only for Battlegrounds, but it's really OP if you can cast Hypnosis really well. It's an AoE stun on the enemies that are facing in your direction. It's 5 seconds. It's kind of a turn evil, but it's better. It can be blocked, but it can be roll dodged, so it's a little bit weaker than Shattering Rocks as a single CC, but you can stun more people with this. So it's really good if you can use it, or if you are in a situation that you know that they are gonna come to you to make pressure. This is better. But if you are chasing someone down like I'm doing all the time, it's better to use Shattering Rocks, because you can just chasing and just pressuring him when the CC immunity ends. So that's what I'm gonna say. Couple of things more. The potion I'm using is Essence of Felt 3 stat. Really straightforward. You can use the movable pot as well, or the stealth detection pot as side potions, but your main potion will be 3 stat. You can obviously use the Crown Store 3 stat as well. That it's like the same. The main food for me is Bewitched. I wasn't with food, so you're gonna see the character sheet right now. So we are sitting at 35k mag, 30k health and almost 20k stamina, so it's a really stat dense build, and we have a lot of recovery as well. Like we have, if I pop the potion, we are gonna have more than 2000 Magicka recovery, a bit of health recovery that is gonna be doubled when we are below 50% health, and we have a lot of stamina recovery as well, because we need stamina sustain with this build. You're gonna be blocking a lot, you're gonna be roll dodging sometimes, and you're gonna try to heavy weave every like 6 or 7 seconds in fight. So you can rely on your stamina better. So you need anyway a really good stamina sustain. And another option for the food, if you don't want to rely too much on your stamina, is the Clockwork Citrus Filet, which is basically more sustained for you, because it gives a perk of Magicka recovery. It's gonna be a little less health and less Magicka, but it's more sustained in terms of Magicka recovery. So maybe you can run this with Mage Mundus Stone if you want a little bit more damage, but you're gonna be a little squishier. So I don't really recommend this, but I found myself using this a couple of times and it works quite good. I prefer anyway Bewitched Sugar Skulls. So that's pretty much it for the build. It's just Magicka Decay. It's just a technical character you have to rely on pressuring the right target, and if you don't be careful when you're fighting, you're gonna be one-shotted a lot of times because your heal is not that good, but you have really good mitigation, and you are probably the best class in the game if we talking about 1v1 in a duel, but you have to have a good knowledge of your character. So I'm really a fan of Magicka DK, that's my first character, and I'm running Breton right now, but you can run Dark Elf or High Elf as well, because we have no sustain issues this patch. I just found Breton a little bit more consistent because of the cost reduction, and I'm always playing in heavy armor with my Magicka DK, so it's just Breton is just better for me, but in general you can run it with Dark Elf or High Elf, and that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for following this guide. If you have any comments, feel free to ask in comment section below, and I'm gonna be publishing the next guides as well in a couple of days. Thank you and see ya!